The cafe door swung open with a gust of cold winter air, and every head turned. She stood there, her coat torn, her shoes soaked, clutching a little boy's hand who looked no older than 5. The chatter stopped for a moment. People went back to their coffee cups, pretending not to stare. But one man didn't look away. His name was Daniel, a single dad sitting at the corner table with his laptop, a half-finished coffee beside him, and eyes that had seen too much loneliness to judge anyone else's. The woman hesitated at the counter, fumbling through her purse. Her hands trembled as she pulled out a few coins. The little boy tugged on her sleeve and whispered, "Mommy, can I have hot chocolate?" Her eyes softened but quickly filled with guilt. "Maybe next time, sweetheart," she said quietly. The cashier smiled politely, pretending not to notice the coins weren't enough for even a cup of coffee. Daniel watched silently. He didn't know her story, but he didn't need to. He could see it in her eyes, that mix of pride and pain, of wanting to be strong when the world kept testing you. It reminded him of his own nights after his wife passed away, trying to make oatmeal stretch for 2 meals while his daughter slept, unaware of how close they were to losing everything. When the woman turned to leave, Daniel stood up. "Excuse me," he said, walking toward the counter. "Could you make 2 hot chocolates and a muffin to go?" The cashier nodded, confused at first. Then Daniel turned to the woman and smiled gently. "I think your little guy deserves something warm today." She froze, eyes wide, unsure whether to accept or refuse. "You don't have to," she said quickly, her voice trembling with embarrassment. "I know," Daniel replied, "but I want to." Her lips parted, but no words came out. Tears gathered in her eyes as the little boy grinned, whispering a soft, "Thank you, mister." They sat down together, Daniel, the woman named Lily, and her son, Jamie. He learned that she had lost her job a month ago after her company shut down. She'd been living in a small shelter nearby, applying for work every day. "It's hard," she admitted, staring down at her hands. "People see my clothes, my face, and they decide I'm not worth hiring. But I keep trying for him." Daniel listened without pity, only understanding. He knew that kind of exhaustion, the kind that makes your soul ache more than your body. He told her about his daughter Emma, about how life had changed after his wife's cancer, and how kindness from strangers had helped him get back on his feet. The more they talked, the more warmth filled the space between them. Days turned into weeks. Lily came by the cafe often, always with Jamie, always shy but smiling now. Daniel started bringing extra cookies, saying they were for his coffee research, but everyone knew better. Eventually, he found out she had a background in accounting. His company had an opening. He didn't promise her the job, he just asked her to apply. And she did. When she walked into the interview, she wore the same coat, still torn, but this time her head was held high. She got the job, not because Daniel pulled strings, but because she was truly the best candidate. From that day forward, she worked hard, stayed late, and slowly rebuilt her life piece by piece. Months later, on a warm spring morning, Lily stood outside the same cafe, her clothes neat, her son holding a small gift bag. Daniel was there with Emma, who had become fast friends with Jamie. The kids were laughing, chasing each other around the tables. Lily handed Daniel the bag. Inside was a mug that read, "Kindness is never forgotten." She smiled, her eyes glistening. "You saw me that day when no one else did. You saw beyond the torn clothes, beyond the fear. You saw me." Daniel's throat tightened. He looked at her, not as someone he helped, but as someone who helped him remember why compassion matters. "No," he said softly, "I just saw what was already there, a beautiful heart trying to survive." The cafe had long since filled with the hum of voices, but for a moment, the world felt quiet again, like the day they first met. Two people who'd been broken in different ways, finding hope in the simplest act of humanity. As the children ran outside, their laughter echoing down the street, Lily turned to Daniel and said, "Sometimes, God doesn't give you miracles. He sends you people instead." And Daniel, looking at her and the two little souls who had somehow made both their lives brighter, knew she was right. Because that day, he hadn't just seen a woman in torn clothes. He'd seen courage, love, and the most beautiful heart he'd ever known.